I'm Andy Sirota.
And I'm Lisa Hernandez. The National Weather Service confirmed less than an hour ago an EF1 tornado did touch down in Katy early this morning.
Our Sky 2 was just over the Katy area. The National Weather Service says winds from that tornado reaching 90 miles an hour or so. The Harris County Fire Marshal's Office is also going to be assessing the structural integrity of that strip center along South Mason Road.
KPRC 2's TJ Parker was there hearing from some people who were at a bar when that tornado came through.
We've been checking out damage reports all morning long from the north side and here to Katy, and by far this is the worst damage we have seen. And from the looks of it, it's a miracle nobody was hurt.
It was definitely
right
rumbling. It built up until
the rumble got stronger and stronger, and then the walls started shaking.
Kevin and Jason were working when they only had seconds to react and get to safety inside a cooler as strong storms stripped away parts of Bourbon Street Sports Bar.
Pretty sure the roof got lifted off on the front point, and that's why our AC is over here.
The bar was closed and they were cleaning up when it all happened. They say it's lucky more people weren't here.
We're very lucky.
The entire street.
We're going to get back to TJ's story in just a moment, but right now Harris County fire officials are speaking about the damage. Let's listen in.
We've had Westlake Fire Department, and I'll let Chief mention some of the other departments that were here. Tremendous cooperation. We're very, very fortunate this did not happen when the businesses were occupied. We're very grateful that everybody made it out. And so I'm going to let Chief from Harris County ESD 48, Donovan.
Good afternoon, Mark Donovan, Assistant Fire Chief, Harris County ESD 48. As Chief Christensen was saying, this morning around 3 o'clock, one of our crews came upon the structural collapse of the Firestone store, came into the complex and saw additional damage. Assured number one, safety was number one. We didn't want to get anybody hurt. Once we were assured that there was no one else in the structures, we basically stood by until the weather cleared. And once we had the opportunity, we engaged Houston Fire Department Technical Rescue Team. That was very important because they have specialized sensors that can actually see if the building is shifting. Secondary collapse is always a big concern. We don't want to put anybody in a structure that might collapse. So we had Houston's Heavy Rescue 11, Rescue 10, Community Fire Department's Rescue 91, as well as Westlake Fire Department. Our crews were able to assess this complex as well as the adjoining complexes to look at that structural stability. Once we were assured of that, we turned this over to the Harris County Fire Marshal's Office so their inspectors could do their review. And that's where we're at this morning. As Chief Christian said, we treated one person on scene for a minor electrical shock. We had the 3 employees of the sports bar that were on scene that didn't need any medical attention. And we'll be out here until the Fire Marshal's Office wraps up their investigation. If anyone has any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them.
You mentioned that y'all were able to check if the building was shifting. Can you talk a little bit about that technology that you
Sure.
use?
So Houston Fire Department Rescue Team has lasers that they can put up, and they basically sense any movement of the structure. And so that, to us, that was paramount. We wanted to make sure that we weren't putting anybody in harm's way. So those 2 rescue teams came out and did that, and once we were assured that the buildings weren't moving, then we went ahead and put people in.
Okay. And I mean, obviously these buildings are not safe to go inside right now. I mean, how long do you think it could take to repair something like this?
Okay, so repairs are something that's going to happen outside of our purview, but the Harris County Fire Marshal's Office has been doing their assessment. We'll turn this over to the business owners, and they'll work with the restoration companies and insurance to get the complex back up and running, because it's very important to get these businesses opened up as quick as we can.
We'll take additional questions once all speakers have completed their remarks. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeffrey Evans. I'm the meteorologist in charge of the National Weather Service office at Houston Galveston. We were responsible for all the watches and warnings last night as this strong storm system came through the metropolitan area. Another part of our responsibility is to determine what causes damage like this. So once we were able to get up here this morning, we have to take a look at the damage. That's the only way to determine if it was straight line winds or a tornado. Once we got on scene, we could pretty quickly determine this indeed was a tornado. Looking at the area, the magnitude of the damage, we have tools to assess what kind of winds would have caused the damage that we're seeing. Our estimate is winds upwards of about 90 miles an hour on the high end. This was the most significant damage we've had in the area from that storm system, although we had some trees down across other parts of the county. This was the most significant. So once we leave here, we're going to continue into the neighborhood behind us. There's a little bit of damage back in there. We do believe the tornado did track weaker, fortunately, probably weaker EF0 type of damage on the other side of the into that subdivision behind us. So we're going to be doing that this afternoon. And then once we'll determine that, we'll figure out the size, the width, and the length of that tornado track. It looks like it started right behind us here on Mason Avenue. The strongest was right here, and then again, it continued off to the east-southeast from here. Any questions?
Jeff Winter, meteorologist with Harris County. So I'm going to cover some of the other impacts we've seen across Harris County. Obviously, this has been the most significant impact we've seen here in Harris County. We did have some very strong winds in the northwestern and northern part of the county. 62-mile-an-hour wind gust at Hooks, Tomball Airport overnight, so trees down, especially up around the FM 1960 Champions over towards I-45, Inverness Forest, Humble area. That's where we've had some trees down. And then across the rest of the county, some sporadic instances of damage. Some trees down here, power lines, power outages, some fences blown down. We did also, outside of Harris County, we did also have a 71-mile-per-hour wind gust down at San Leon in Galveston County. And so this is exactly what we were talking about yesterday with that line of storms that came in from the west, those strong winds that came with that line and those isolated tornadoes. This is a great example of an isolated location that had one of those tornadoes, and then kind of some sporadic wind damage across the rest of the county.
Good afternoon. I'm Leslie Briones, your Harris County Commissioner for Precinct 4. We are in Precinct 4 right now. My team members and I are just incredibly thankful for the level of collaboration and leadership that we have from all of our partners here. And so first, my profound gratitude to all of our first responders and just the level of coordination we have seen. This tornado, you can see the devastation. The silver lining is it happened at a time where this was essentially vacant, and the three individuals who were working in that sports bar, luckily they were towards the back and were not injured. So I'm so thankful we have Nottingham Country neighborhood right behind us. And as a mom of three and as a former public school teacher, I can only imagine if the tornado had touched down into the neighborhood. So right now what the Harris County Precinct 4 team members have been doing, and they've been out since the wee hours of the morning, we have 40 crew members in Nottingham Country neighborhood cleaning up trees, cutting down trees, picking up debris, talking to the residents. We've been talking to the business owners, just continuing that line of communication and making sure that everyone is safe and everyone is being informed. And so we thank you for being here, and we will continue working together, and anyone who is in need of service in their neighborhood or their home can reach out to Harris County Precinct 4 and we will help with the debris. Thank you.
We'll now take any questions. Do we know how long the tornado?
You've been listening to representatives from several agencies talking about the damage done there in Katy by that tornado. Two types of rescue units involved in assessing the damage out there: heavy rescue and tactical rescue, assessing the structural integrity of that strip center.
And they're going to continue that assessment of the neighborhood directly behind that strip center on South Mason to see if homes there were impacted as well, and also to determine just in the length and the width of this particular tornado.
Yeah, and that's what we don't, and I just said that while the presser was going on. The fact that they got there less than a couple of hours ago and immediately were like, yep, okay, this is definitely damaged, lends me to believe, and as you heard Jeff a second ago say, they probably weakened some, but I would not be shocked that some of the houses, fences down, damage to, you know, people's pools, things like that, that neighborhood. I used to live in that neighborhood when we first moved to Katy here many years ago, so I know exactly where that is at that point. So
thank goodness no major injuries.
No major injuries, no, you know, some significant damage that they saw at the Fireland store and also at the bar there as well, but the three employees that were there got inside, they were safe in the cooler, got their way out, and everybody was okay.
One person, minor electrical shock.
That's right, that's the one,
there
Yeah, at this point. Okay, so you guys come with me over here because I want to show you something. So this is what we know so far from the tornado, right? So the tornado basically right around 245 or so is an EF1. They put the max winds at about 90 miles an hour, right? So I want to show you what the radar signature looked like, and I've got it zoomed in. So there's Katy, right? There's the Grand Parkway. There's South Mason Mason Road, okay? So Kingsland is right here. So basically where my hand is, that's what we're talking at, right? So the storm winds, when you have winds going towards the radar, that's the green. Winds going away from a radar, that's the red, right? So normally that's not an issue, right? Because if everything's coming in from one side, this would all be green. But look at what we're looking at right here. I've got winds trying to do that, and wind's trying to do this.
Oh, wow.
What happens? You got it. That's our
Oh, so
rotation.
that's
And so the
what-
brighter this color is, this signature here, when it gets bright, that means you've got a stronger inflow of that wind, and the red is getting wrapped around that as well. There's South Mason, there's Kingsland. That's probably where, bingo, right there at about 2:45. That's what we saw this morning. Carolina and Dodge, you noticed that, and that's why I want to really focus on this, because I think this is a pinpoint, probably what the National Weather Service was looking as well. That's what they saw, and that's why they went ahead and made that preliminary finding so far. And we'll find out exactly how long it was on the ground, and they'll estimate all that and maybe what the path is. But you know, these neighborhoods back here on South Mason and Kingsland, right in through here off of South Peak, for example, and Rosner Road, there's a lot of tightly clustered houses back in there too. So, you know, and especially
Right
as
off
you
the
go up
Grand
towards the
Parkway.
freeway, right, Elrod Road, and then South Mason, there is a ton of businesses, dry cleaners, Taco Bells, places like that. It's just packed right across South
Densely
Mason.
populated area.
Exactly, yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked to see more at that point. So good news is that's all gone. And in fact, we saw some of this damage that you saw out here as well. But as we get into the rest of the morning, and we said the pups woke you up as well, right?
There was no sleep.
we knew.
All the dog owners
No
were
sleep.
exhausted.
Yes, right here.
You knew it was as well. The good news is, though, is that that's all gone. We've got a few of these light scattered showers that we're watching as well. I'm going to talk more about this flash flooding that we saw over there. Other than that, most of this will be long gone. As we get this out of here, we'll talk more about that. And you see the wind starting to shake the camera.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be the other issues we get in towards this afternoon as well.